Hello and welcome to the new video. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah and today I was hoping we could spend some time together reading some hopefully good books. So the first book that I'm going to read this month is The Crimson Moth, and this is the book that I'm rolling over from February. I have read 15 chapters of this, 115 pages. That's about 30% in, and I'm having a good time with this one. This is basically a story of a witch and a witch hunter. I don't think I need to say a lot. I think this book is very well known in the booktube community, and yes, I'm having a good time with this book. I have the Rebel Witch lined up. As soon as I finish this one, I will be reading that one physically as well, and I'm hoping I will have as good of a time as I'm having with this one. I am a bit in a mood for this Polish soup that we make. It's a sour cucumber soup, and it's basically sour, and I love it so much, and I haven't had it for a long time, so I think I'm gonna put an audiobook on. I'm actually listening to something for my self-destructing books vlog, so I think I'm gonna put that audiobook on, and then I am going to crack on and make my soup because I really fancy it. Good morning. I just had a yarn delivery. I will be making a blanket for Jason. I did tell you I was making a cushion cover for my friend, and I'm actually making it out of these granny squares. So there will be like, I'll be alternating colors, but it's so pretty. So that's going to be a cushion cover. So this is my current project, but also I have convinced Jason to allow me to make him a blanket for his bed. And MJ Off the Hook on YouTube, she posted this beautiful pattern recently, and oh my gosh, I just tested it, and I have a sample here in my hand, and it's going to be such a beautiful blanket. I will link her video in the description box below. Have a look if you're interested. But this is what the sample looks like. I know it's like the effect, I don't know, in real life the effect is completely different, but it's such a beautiful texture. We've got like different like puff stitches in here as well, and it seems quite difficult, and I was kind of like, when I started the sample I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna take ages, but I think once you get the gist and remember the stitches and everything, it's just so easy because the stitches themselves are super easy. So I have his yarn here in this big bag, and I have a yarn that was a pack of yarn, like a kit that was on sale. It was, I think it was reduced, it was like £8 cheaper. It was reduced from 34 to 26, and I just thought it's such a good opportunity to get it, so I got it for myself for some future project. Let me show you Jason's yarn first. So I'll be using this pattern, and it will be like a block stripe blanket, so it's not like a small stripes. It's going to be one color, then the next color, big blocks. These are the colors that I chose for him. Oh, so pretty. The teals and the purples, the violets, they look so nice together, and this is going to be so nice. I already know I love these colors, and I just can't wait to start making it. I'm so excited, but I have to do the cushion cover first, and then I have a yarn pack for myself. I'm not gonna take this out, but as you can see, it's a bright and bright and colorful again. I might actually do it with this pattern. Don't know if you can see. There you go, because that looks nice. I'm so excited. I literally, now I'm gonna go and do this cushion, I think, and so I can start this blanket for Jason ASAP. Books wise, let me give you a quick update because I don't want this vlog to turn into a Hannah is doing crochet blankets vlog. I was reading The Crimson Moth yesterday. Oh my gosh, I am so engrossed in this book. I absolutely freaking love it. So yesterday I think I read almost 100 pages. It reads so quick in bed. It reads so quick, it's interesting, it's engaging, there's a lot going on, and there's this thing happening between Gideon and Rune when they, like, he made this freaking dress for her, right? So he's this commander of the Blood Guard. He's like the top soldier or whatever. You can imagine like Jaime Lannister, right? So Jaime Lannister is the King's Guard, and here we have Gideon, who is the commander of the Blood Guard. So yeah, Gideon is our Jaime Lannister. So we have Gideon, who is the Jaime Lannister of the Crimson Moth, and then he also, his parents were dressmakers and tailors, and he can make dresses, and he makes this beautiful, he designs and makes this beautiful dress for Rune to wear to this ball or wherever she's going, under a pretense, obviously, because he just wants to, he suspects her of being a witch and he needs to check her body for scars. But like, how cool is that? Like, you know what, I feel like this is what I feel like, it's nice, you know, because when you make something for someone, like when I make my blankets for people, or like the blanket that we'll make for Jason, or I made a blanket for my son and his girlfriend, and for my daughter, and for friends, and when I make something like this, I feel like it just means so much. It's like homemade, handmade cards, like birthday cards or whatever. I feel like if someone makes something especially for that person, handmade, it just has so much more meaning and so much more, I don't know. I think I'm just getting a little bit soapy. But yeah, I always appreciate handmade stuff and things that were made for me by someone. So for me, seeing Gideon making this dress for Rune is just like, oh, aww. So I had a dentist appointment this morning at 9:45. I'm still a little bit numb. At 11 o'clock, I have my haircut appointment, but I'm a little bit early and there's no point of me going back home. So I was going to go to Costa and sit there and have a coffee, but I haven't anticipated the fact that I will have to have an injection done and have my tooth numbed. So coffee is out of the question because I don't want to sit there and dribble through the side of my mouth. So I'm sitting in my car in a car park. I'm reading, what am I reading? The Crimson Moth. And do you know what? I'm actually so shooketh that I'm so invested in this book. My God, I can't talk. I'm so sorry. I feel like the whole side of my mouth feels weird that anyway, I'm so invested in this book. Like, I love Gideon and I love Rune, and I have my suspicion who the bad witch is, but I don't know. Like, there is not, for me at least, nothing is certain. So I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm intrigued and I'm fascinated by the relationship that they have and how they have fallen for each other. I love it. So I'm gonna sit here and read and basically kill time before I have to go for my haircut. I think we need to update you. I'm almost finished with Crimson Moth. I've got about 75 pages left of this book. I've read a little bit in the car yesterday and I really want to finish it today because that book is good. I'm vibing with it. I didn't show you my recent crochet project. I showed you my last blanket and I told you I was doing a cushion for my friend and I never did show and tell. So this is one, I'm making two cushions. The first one is done. This is the first one. So she picked her colors herself. So the first one, this is the first one. At the back it closes like a little envelope. Just need to add a button here, and then she can stuff her cushion inside. I think that's really, really nice. And then because I had some leftover yarn, I'm making the second one. So this one isn't finished. It's the same pattern for the square as the first one. So it's basically like that. Actually, it looks super cool in camera. Oh my gosh, it's cool. But at the back, it will be a different design. At the back, it will be just plain half double crochets, and I'm going to stitch the sides together here, and it will work like a pillowcase. Basically, I don't know if you know, like things overlap. So that's the plan for this one. I have this much yarn left, so I will be going with this until this yarn is finished, and hopefully that will be enough to create enough overlap to keep the cushion inside nicely. Look at this, these two together. I feel like this is so cool. I need to make some for myself, but I haven't got time because now I'm making a blanket for my partner. I started that a couple of days ago, but I just didn't have time to work much on it. Kind of like a waffle. It's not even a waffle, but it's got these little, I think I showed you the sample I made. So I'm making this blanket in this pattern, and I actually started with a different hook, and then I decided to use a larger hook so that the blanket is nice and floppy and it's a bit looser basically. But yeah, I think it's going to be such a nice blanket, this one. So that's for Jason, and then I already have that yarn for my blanket. There's a lot of crochet projects going on, plus my book blanket as well. Today I'm recording a day in my life vlog. I'm doing a juice day. I'm doing a juice cleanse day. So yeah, apart from that, I will probably catch up with you when I finish reading the Crimson Moth. My people, I have just finished reading The Crimson Moth, and I tell you what, if you haven't got this book, if you haven't read this book yet, don't just go and buy it, and don't just go and read it. I say you run and buy it, and then you run and read it, because it was so much fun. I've rated this book 5 stars. I'm not going to go into the details because I think that this book is well known to whoever's interested in books and fantasy romance and stuff like that. But cut the long story short, it was a fast-paced fantasy romance between a witch and a witch hunter, with a lot of action going on. Not romantic action, but just like action in general, because she is a witch that saves other witches. So there's a lot going on in this book, a lot of action, and the romance that was portrayed here between them, it starts as a way of finding out what the other side is doing, and it's a way of spying on the enemy side. It's really interesting. It was a very slow and gradual thing between them, which I actually really enjoyed. I feel like nowadays we have too much of that instant thing, you know, people jump into their beds. Like, I know it's in books, but you know, regardless. And here we didn't have that. I was like, you know, I actually couldn't wait for things to happen between them, because it was just so cool. I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the book. I love the characters, and I actually was so interested and invested in Gideon's and Rune's relationship. I wanted the things to end good between them. So I am going to jump into book 2. I highly recommend this one if you haven't read it already, and I'll be starting book 2, The Rebel Witch, the heart-rending conclusion to the New York Times bestselling Crimson Moth duology. I thought it was a series. Turns out it's a duology, so I am going to jump right in and start reading this. I am excited.
confusing.
Yes!
Who I call myself today. In this world of illusion.
Oh my god, finally!
Didn't dare to sing my name. That was when you came along. And I don't know where I would be or where I'll go if you weren't steady next to me. Your arms have carried me for miles. Here's where I belong. Life can be unfair. I just couldn't handle it. Still smell the bitter taste of misery.
Day one as a brunette. And as a brunette, I decided that my house needs a makeover as well. So, not really a makeover, but I'm going to give it a good clean. And I'm going to do a clear out. The weather is nice. The sun is shining. We've washed half of my window, the outside part, because Jason's got long arms, so he can reach where I can't. So that part is done. So I'm going to clean the windows, wash the nets and whatever. I'm going to give it a good clean and dust and everything, and probably clear out some stuff as well. So that's on our agenda today. We have 2 days of annual leave. Jason has family commitments, so I'm on my own now, and I'm going to do cleaning. And I thought for my cleaning I will start listening to Lisa Jewell's None of This Is True. This was not initially on my March TBR, but I had a hold in a library and it just came through the other week and I completely forgot about it. And I was actually going to put the Reformatory on. However, this is a library book. I mean Libby, this is my own book, but the audiobook is from the library, so I think I'm going to pop my headphones on and I'm going to start listening to None of This Is True, another book of my TBR this way, and do some cleaning. So it's going to be a fun and busy afternoon.
I just need to love you like I do.
That's a bit of an awkward angle. I just wanted to say that I have finished listening to Lisa Jewell, None of This Is True. This is the first time I was listening / reading anything from Lisa Jewell. It was a quick read. I've listened to this audiobook over the entire afternoon. I was doing chores. I finished about an hour. My hair is messy. I finished cleaning about an hour ago, and then I was sitting here doing my crochet blanket for Jason and listening to this, and I've just finished, and it was actually really enjoyable. I rated it 4 stars. I normally don't rate this sort of books 4 stars because it has to be something really amazing for me to rate a thriller / mystery / suspense 4 stars, because what I found out, they're all quite typical and predictable, and so was this book as well. It was a typical thriller or like a mystery and very predictable. You kind of knew from the beginning what was going to happen, but the reason I rated this book 4 stars is the way it was produced. So like I said, I listened to this as an audiobook, and it had a cast of, I don't know how many people, but there were women's voices and men's voices, and it kind of had elements of podcast and interviews and news reports woven into the story as well, which I found very interesting and very engaging. And actually it's a really good book. After listening to the epilogue, I still don't know who was telling the truth. So it left me a little bit confused, but I actually quite like that when you don't have a clear answer to the questions and you're kind of just like have to keep guessing. It could be anything really. It could be it could be anything. So I actually really like this one. So I'm going to take that off my physical TBR, which I'm really, really happy about. One more book to check off. And I think I have a couple of books by Lisa Jewell still. The Family Upstairs and Family Remains. And I'm actually looking forward to reading them now, because I wasn't sure about Lisa Jewell. Everybody's praising her writing, but because I never had any experience with this author, yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive, but it was good. I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy it too if you read it. But yeah, it was a really good book, and also the fact that it was happening in North London mostly, it was very enjoyable for me because I live in North London, so I kind of know these areas, and it's always interesting for me when books or situations or stories are happening in the neighborhood. So yeah, have a read, enjoy that one. And I am now, I think, going to put some TV on. I literally cleaned my house top to bottom, so I feel a little bit spent, but I have one more day off tomorrow, and then from Sunday I'm going to work, so at least I know tomorrow I can just chill and relax and enjoy the last day of annual leave. Hello, it's Saturday, it's the last day of my annual leave. I am just about to cook something. My son is going out tonight, so I'm gonna cook some macaroni with mince. Also, I have another 3 expired bananas, so I'll be making another banana bread. So I'm gonna start cooking. I am going to listen to this while I cook and bake, the Reformatory by Tananarive Jew. And I started that yesterday when I was doing the blanket, and I've listened to 3 chapters. All I know so far from the 3 chapters, we're in 1950s in a town in America, and there's obvious segregation between white people and black people, and there's a brother and sister. The mom passed away from cancer, and dad is, I think, working in Chicago, so they kind of on their own. The sister is working for this elderly lady. She's helping her run the house, and the boy is going to school. And one day, I think they're on the way to school, and one of the white boys starts bothering the girl. So her brother Robert, he kind of stands up to that boy and kicks him in the leg. And unfortunately for Robert, the other boy's father sees that and reports it, and the boy is taken in front of the judge and is being sent to the Reformatory. And this is a school for boys, and apparently, this is all I know, this is all that happened in the 3 chapters. And her sister runs to the lady that she works for, and they go get in a car and they go to see Robert before he goes to the school. So that's all I know. Nothing much happened yet apart from this, so I'm going to pop my headphones on, start cooking, start making banana bread, prepare my lunch for work for tomorrow, and just crack on with my day.
I don't know where I would be or where I'll go if you weren't standing next to me. Your arms have carried me for miles. Here's where I belong. I've been running away from now and everything I've seen, recalling the things I won't remembering a feel I can't deny it, just wanna hide it and let it go away. But you have shown me that I can be free and face the world again.
Updates. I'm listening to Reformatory. I am on page 240 and it's just under 600 pages. So I'm about 40% in the book. To summarize really quickly, this boy, Robbie, he was sent to this school and he is a sensitive boy, a boy that sees ghosts. And so he sees ghosts of different boys at school, murdered boys at school. And at the same time, what's happening with his sister, she is trying to find ways to get him out of this school. It's interesting, it's very horrible in a way that there's descriptions of the boys being punished in a school and being beaten, and it's quite disturbing in that sense. I want this book to have a good ending, positive ending, because I think deep down it's a very sad story. I'm really enjoying this. I think I would struggle with it if I had to read this physically, to be honest, but audio, I do my blanket, I listen, put this on, and I'm having a good time, as in, yeah, it's not a good time because the story is sad, but you know what I mean. I have my water with me. I have a big bottle of water today. I'm planning to go to the gym and then I need to pop down to Costco for a few things. But I don't know what to... Oh my God! I just got a message. Mealy just had a baby boy, 4 a.m. this morning, weighing 7 pounds, all healthy, all good. Congratulations, Mealy! Oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Oh, sending you lots of love. Anyway, now let's choose the workout because I don't know what to do. So I'm going to flip the coin. And if it lands on heads, it's legs. Heads is legs, tails is deadlift. So let's do this. Let me see. Try again. What is it? Oh, it's heads. Heads. So we're doing legs. Chat to you later.
I don't know where I would be or where I'll go if you weren't standing next to me.
I am back from the gym. I did legs. I had a really good workout. I actually didn't expect it. So it was good. I'm happy. Went to Costco. There was a massive queue, traffic, not moving. I don't know what happened. And since I was just going to pick up my juice and nothing else, I decided not to go. So I'm back home. I'm doing laundry and I made coffee and I am going to work on a retirement poster for my friend Andy. This is such a good book. I am literally inhaling this. I've read part 1, finished that yesterday, so I'm gonna start part 2 today and I'm having such a good time. This is a romance between a witch and a witch hunter. I'm not gonna go into the details, what's going on in the sequel, because I don't want to spoil book 1 and book 2 for you. So I'm not gonna say anything else, but there's so much action in this book and I love seeing that. See, for me, my favorite books are plot-driven books, not that much character-driven books, and I prefer a bit more action. I prefer a medium to fast pace. I'm not really a slow burn girly. So this book is literally right up my alley. Same as Crimson Moth. Crimson Moth, that was such a good book. I'm having such a good time with it. I have about 270 pages left and I'm thinking I can probably finish it by the end of this week. For now, I am going to crack on with my poster design for Andy. He's retiring this year after being a train driver for a lot of years. So I'm gonna crack on with it and I will chat to you later. Hi, I just come back from work and I'm going to go and jump in a shower because I want to have a relaxed afternoon. I wanted to give you a few updates. I'm still reading The Rebel Witch. I have about 150 pages left, so I'm hoping I'll be able to finish it by the end of this week. And I am also listening to The Reformatory. This is my audiobook for this week. I think I have about I have 4 hours left in that book, so we're getting there. Hopefully I will be able to finish it at the same time as Rebel Witch, so I can close this vlog. But also, there's one thing that I wanted to tell you about and show you. So the other day I was watching Hayley Hughes, and she was doing her March TBR, and she mentioned this manga or graphic novel. I don't know what the difference is between manga and graphic novels. Let me just call them graphic novels under one umbrella. I'll put them under one umbrella. I call them all graphic novels. And she mentioned this horror graphic novel called PTSD Radio. And she was going to read it, and she says how apparently good it is and everything. And I don't know, she kind of mentioned that it has the same vibes as The Ring. And I am scared of The Ring, and I figured, let me read this book, let me get this book and let me read it. And it came yesterday. This is it. This is the book, volume 1 and 2. This is the omnibus. So it has the 6 volumes in total. This one has volume 1 and 2. And I have already read volume 1 yesterday. I know it's a picture book, graphic novel, so it's reading it much quicker than reading a novel. But oh my gosh, I don't know what it is about this book. It's not exactly scary, but it's creepy, and that creepiness just literally gets into your soul. It's all about hair. And it's a horror. When I went on Goodreads to see what people are saying about this, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's a collection of short stories that don't really make sense or whatever. And then there's this one comment that someone left on someone else's review. And the person said, every chapter has a radio frequency assigned to the chapter. And if you read the chapters in order of the lowest to the highest frequency, the story will fall in together and you will be reading it in chronological order. So yesterday what I've done, I have put all these chapters in order, and this is how I was reading this story. And it's good. It's good. This is where I am. I have volume 2 to read. Maybe I will even finish this today. And imagine, I liked it so much, I went ahead and I ordered the next volumes. I have them here. I don't usually read a lot of manga or graphic novels. There's 1 or 2 that I've read in the past. This I really, really enjoy, and I'm having a really good time. It's creepy, and I don't know how to describe it. It's just super creepy.
Thought I was losing who I call myself today. In this world of illusions, didn't dare to sing my name. That was when you came along, and I don't know where I would be or where I'll go.
I have finished reading the Reformatory today, and not every day you come across a book that will move you to the core, and the Reformatory is definitely one of these books. So even though the story told in this book is horrific and horrible, I feel like this book is misadvertised as horror. Not as horror in the sense you would think, like in the usual sense of horror. The horror of this book is behind the racism and racial slurs and child abuse and severe violence. And this is a book that a lot of people will find really hard to stomach, but I think that everyone should read, and they should read it to keep the memory of that horrible time of segregation alive in their minds, to prevent it happening in the future and to serve as a warning, because even though this is a work of fiction, it is based on some of the events that were taking place in the 50s in Florida. This is a story of a 12-year-old black boy, Robbie, who is sent to this juvenile institution called the Reformatory as a punishment for kicking a white boy. Robbie is a sensitive soul, as in a sense that he can feel and see ghosts, and he encounters a lot of them from the very first time he enters the, let's just call it a school, from the very first time he enters the school and the school grounds. He makes a couple of friends during his time in the Reformatory, and through the friends he learns a lot about the horrific events that took place and are still taking place at the time he's there. In the Reformatory. Because of his sensitivity to paranormal, the headmaster of the school, Haddock, he uses Robbie as a ghost hunter. Haddock is a horrible and disgusting character, but he promises Robbie an early release if he finds the ghosts haunting that place. Parallel to Robbie's arc, we follow Gloria. Gloria is Robbie's older sister who tirelessly tries to get Robbie out from that school. This is one of the very few books that actually made me cry. This is a sad and heartbreaking story, but at the same time it is a heartwarming tale of love and courage and survival. And this is a 600-page book, and it is quite intimidating, and I have to admit I've listened to this via audio because I was intimidated, but I was actually surprised to see how fast the plot was moving in this book, and it actually read like a thriller. There were times when I was on the edge of my seat, especially at the end of the book during the chasing scenes. And yeah, I feel like everybody should read it. Needless to say, this is a 5-star read for me. This is one of those books that will definitely stay with me for a very, very long time. I felt very emotional reading this book. This book is dark, it's challenging, it's intense. It will evoke a lot of feelings in a reader. But regardless of that, I think everybody should read it. I know this is going to be one of my top books of 2025. Highly recommend it. I will be using this book for my horror bingo board, and I will be using this for hard mode BIPOC author. And now, after the dark and heavy atmosphere and challenging atmosphere and an intensity of the Reformatory, all I want to do today is finish my 2 books. Tomorrow is my day off, which means I have no time constraints, and I will be reading volume 2. I've read volume 1, so I'll read volume 2 of PTSD Radio, and I have 50 pages left or so of The Rebel Witch. So I'm going to finish those books today, and I'm going to get back to you and tell you how I felt about these 2. After the last clip, I literally sat on my bed and I was reading PTSD Radio, and I have finished. And 4 stars. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't read manga or graphic novels very often, but if someone recommends me a really good Japanese horror, I will definitely read it in any form, because I feel there's just something about Japanese or Asian horror that is just so creepy and unsettling that it's just it's just so good. It seems like a collection of short stories. In this omnibus, we have 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. Each chapter has a radio frequency assigned to it. Someone on Goodreads in the comments mentioned that if you organize your chapters in a radio frequency from the lowest to the highest and you read them in this order, the story will kind of make sense. It's actually a really good tip. So I've organized my chapters first and I wrote them down on a little post-it note, which I actually left inside the book, and I read the chapters in that order and the story actually made sense. So I appreciate that tip. Thank you very much, whoever it was. And there were times when I felt a little bit confused because it felt like we're seeing some flashbacks and stuff that happened in the past that explains why the things that are happening now are happening. So sometimes you might feel a little bit confused and a little bit lost still. But for me, the part that I love the most about this novel is the artwork. The artwork is great and it's so creepy and I love it. The fact that even though you don't get like a narration, it still made me feel unsettled, because I wasn't scared, but it's unsettling and you kind of start wondering. I have the other two books lined up already. I will organize my chapters first. I will mark them and I will tab them so that I can go into a book and actually, flip it according to my tabs, and this way hopefully I will be more in the story without being thrown off because I need to find the chapter or the page or whatever. So yeah, another 4-star read, great. I actually really enjoyed it and I cannot wait to read the other two that I have. And now I am going to go have some dinner and then I will take my Rebel Witch downstairs and I finish it downstairs. And yeah, I'm so excited because I want to see how the story ends for Gideon and Rune. Ooh. Okay, so the theory with a low frequency, high frequency, I don't think is correct, because I think it's more to do with the topic of the story. Like there might be a connecting thing, like maybe one character. And the reason I'm thinking that is because in volume 2, we have chapters here as well. And funnily enough, 3 chapters have the same frequency and they're not even like, so there's chapter 35 with frequency 29 hertz or whatever. Then we've got 39, same frequency, and then we have 42. All of them have frequency 29. So what I think I'm gonna do is read them in order as they basically as the pages flip. That's the plan. Hi, it is quite late. It's actually almost 11:15 at night, but I have finished reading The Rebel Witch and I had such a good time with this book. My worry with reading duologies, trilogies or series in general is always that if I really like book 1, I always worry that book 2 and the following books will disappoint me. And in this case, it is not the case. This book was as good, as entertaining, as fast-paced, as interesting, as engaging as book 1. And I love the chemistry between Gideon and Rune. And there was quite a few funny places as well that kind of actually made me chuckle, and there's quite a good few quotes in this book. I myself tabbed 3. Generally this book is quite fast-paced, except few places where the story kind of slows down, but if you read it, you understand why. And I also think that what helps making this book read so fast also was the fact that the chapters were short. And I don't know, I am not a fan of long chapters. I like to have short chapters because especially when I read at night in bed, I know that I can read like 1 or 2 chapters and I can go to sleep and I don't have to worry that I'm gonna leave my book halfway through a chapter. I hate that. So I always try to finish a chapter before actually turning my lights off. And with this book, it made it read really quick because the chapters were so short. Also, the other thing that I like about this book is that where it ends, it actually ends in a good place. And I feel like this duology, being a duology, is perfect for this story. I've rated this book 5 stars as well as the Crimson Moth, both of them. So yeah, I highly recommend it if you're after a good time. There was a couple of sexy scenes, but they were not outrageous. So I feel like, you know, they were done in a nice way. I usually skip smut in books because it just doesn't interest me. I don't know, I don't care about smut, but you know, the couple of scenes that were here I actually enjoyed. They were nicely done. They were not rude, they were not offensive, they were really nicely done. The only thing is somehow these characters read older than they are in the book. I think they're like 19, 20, 22 or something like this. And there are times when Ron calls Gideon or thinks about Gideon or talks about Gideon as a boy. Like, oh, I like this boy so much. And in my head, I see him as a man and not as a boy, if you know what I mean. So I found it a little bit strange, but it didn't take away from the fact that I really enjoyed this book. And I think my only issue with this is the fact that the author described Gideon as boy in Ron's words. So yeah, that's the only thing. Apart from, yeah, like, lovely book. If you're in for a good time, yeah, definitely give it a go. So that's my first half a March done reading. I think it was quite good. I have already lined up a few other books. I'm also reading books for my self-distracting vlog, which is coming. It's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming. So I'm gonna close this vlog here now at 11 o'clock at night. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it if you did. Let me know in the comments if you have read the Crimson Moth duology and what you thought about it. And in the meantime, I have recently recorded a day in my life vlog, so if it's something that interests you, you should be seeing that video on the screen now. For now, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!